Every woman tests a man not with words, with behavior. And if you don't understand what you're looking at, you'll miss it completely without even realizing it. Most men think attraction is obvious. They expect a woman to say what she feels to make it clear, to show it in a direct way. But that's not how it works. A woman rarely announces her desire. She doesn't say, "I want you." She doesn't make it easy to read. Instead, she shows it in ways that are quiet, subtle, and easy to overlook. And that's where most men fail. They wait for something obvious, something bold, something that confirms everything clearly. But by the time it becomes obvious, it's already too late. She has already made a decision about him. This is what you need to understand. Attraction is not loud. It hides in small moments, in how she looks at you, how she positions herself around you, how she reacts to your presence when she thinks you're not paying attention. You've seen that these signs before, you just didn't know what they meant. Think about it. Have you ever been around a woman who acted slightly different with you compared to everyone else? Maybe she was softer, more engaged, or a little more nervous. Maybe she stayed closer than she needed to, or found small reasons to interact with you again and again. At the time, it might have felt random, but it wasn't. Those were signals, and the reason you didn't recognize them is because they don't come in obvious forms. They come wrapped in behavior, in emotion, in instinct. They show up in ways that can be denied with words, but never hidden through actions. That's how female psychology works. A woman's body often reacts before her mind decides what to do. Her behavior shifts before she fully understands why. And if you know how to read those shifts, you'll see something most men completely miss. You'll see desire before it's ever spoken. In this video, I'm going to break down the exact signs to watch for. Not surface-level things, not obvious signals, but the deeper patterns that reveal how she actually feels. Because once you understand this, everything changes. You stop guessing, you stop overthinking, and you start seeing what's been right in front of you the whole time. And more importantly, you stop missing the moments that actually matter. Before you can recognize the signs, you need to understand why they exist in the first place. Because if you expect a woman to clearly tell you what she feels, you'll keep missing what she's actually showing you. Most women don't communicate desire directly. Not because they're confused, not because they don't know what they want, but because of how attraction and emotional safety work on a psychological level. For a woman, expressing desire openly carries risk. It exposes her emotionally. It puts her in a position where she could be rejected, misunderstood, or judged. And because of that, her natural instinct is to protect herself first. So instead of saying what she feels, she shows it. That's the key difference. Men tend to express interest more directly. Women tend to express it indirectly through behavior, energy, and subtle shifts in how they act around you. And if you don't understand that difference, you'll keep waiting for words that were never meant to come. This is not random. It's psychological. A woman's attraction often develops beneath the surface first. Her body reacts, her emotions shift, and her behavior changes before she fully processes it consciously. That's why her actions can reveal more than anything she says. You'll notice the way she becomes more aware of you, the way her attention shifts, the way her energy changes when you enter the space. She may not say anything about it, but she's showing it. Another reason women don't say it directly is because they're observing you. Before a woman allows herself to fully express attraction, she wants to understand what kind of man you are. As she watches how you behave, how respond, how you carry yourself, she's not just looking at what you say, she's looking at how you handle situations. Because attraction for her is not just physical, it's emotional and psychological. She needs to safe. She needs to feel that you understand her. And she needs to feel that expressing her interest won't put her in a vulnerable position where she loses control. So instead of taking that risk immediately, she tests the situation not with direct questions, but with behavior. She gets slightly closer. She gives you small signals. She watches how you respond. If you respond correctly, her behavior becomes more open. If you miss it, she pulls back. This is why so many men feel confused. They think she's inconsistent, but she's not. She's responding to how safe she feels around you. That's why understanding this changes everything. Because once you stop expecting words and start paying attention to behavior, you begin to see the pattern. You begin to understand what she's actually communicating, and when you understand that, you don't need her to say anything. The first sign is one of the easiest to miss, but once you see it, you won't unsee it again. She moves closer to you, not in an obvious way, not in a dramatic or intentional way, but naturally, almost like it just happens. And that's exactly why it matters. Because when a woman is not interested, distance is her default. She protects her space. She keeps interactions neutral, and she doesn't feel the need to physically position herself near you, even if she's being polite or friendly. There's always a subtle boundary. But when she's attracted to you, that boundary starts to disappear, and it happens without her thinking about it. You might notice that when you're sitting together, she chooses the seat closer to you instead of the one farther away. In a group setting, she slowly angles her body in your direction, even when she's talking to someone else. Her feet or shoulders might still be pointed towards you. These are not conscious decisions, they're instinctive. Attraction reduces distance. That's the psychology behind it. Her body is naturally drawn toward what she feels connected to. Even if her mind is trying to stay composed, she may still be acting normal, still talking casually, still trying not to show too much, but her positioning tells a different story. Another thing you'll notice is that she finds reasons to stay near you longer than necessary. The conversation could have ended, but she doesn't leave it immediately. She lingers, stay. She stays in your space just a little longer. Sometimes she'll even re-enter your space after leaving as if she forgot something or just wanted to continue the interaction. Again, this is not random. It's attraction trying to maintain connection. And here's where most men miss it. They think it's just coincidence. They assume she's just being friendly. They ignore the pattern, but the pattern is everything. You can't tell what a woman might be thinking about, but when you see it repeated, when you notice that she consistently positions herself near you, that she chooses proximity over distance, that she lingers instead of leaving, that's not accidental. That's behavior and reveals intention. Another important detail is comfort. When she's close to you, she doesn't look tense or guarded. She relaxes into the space. Her posture becomes more open, her movements become more natural, and she doesn't feel the need to create distance. That level of comfort is a signal because physical closeness without tension means she feels safe, and safety is the foundation of attraction. So if you notice that she consistently moves closer, stays near, and feels comfortable in your space, don't ignore it, because that's not just friendliness. That's the first layer of desire showing itself without words. The second sign is more subtle, but it's one of the most powerful indicators of attraction: her eyes. Most men think attraction looks like a strong, confident stare. They expect a woman to hold eye contact boldly, to make it obvious that she's interested, but in reality, the strongest signals are not bold. They're delicate and they happen in small moments. One of the clearest signs is this: she looks at you and then looks away quickly. That small break in eye contact is not random. Clears throat, it's a reaction. It means you triggered something emotional before she had time to control it. Her mind tells her to stay composed, but her body reacts first, and that reaction shows up in her eyes. You might catch her looking at you when she thinks you're not paying attention. The moment you notice, she quickly looks away, adjusts herself, or shifts her focus to something else. That's not disinterest, that's awareness. Another detail is where she looks. If she glances at your lips while you're talking, that's a strong subconscious signal. It means her mind is imagining closeness, even if she hasn't acted on it. This is not something she plans. It just happens when attraction is present. You may also notice small physical reactions connected to eye contact. She might her hair, adjust her posture, play with her hands. These are self-regulating behaviors. Her body is reacting to the emotional stimulus you create, and she's trying to manage that energy without making it obvious. There's also the softer side of eye contact. When she feels more comfortable, her gaze becomes calmer and more steady. It's not intense, it's not forced, it's relaxed. She holds eye contact a little longer than necessary, not to challenge you, but because she feels connected. That kind of eye contact feels different. It feels warm, and that warmth is what creates emotional tension. Now, here's where most men get it wrong. They either ignore these signals or misinterpret them. They assume that if she looks away, she's not interested. But in reality, looking away quickly is often a stronger sign than holding eye contact because it shows emotion, and attraction is emotional. Another mistake is overreacting. If you suddenly change your behavior the moment you notice her looking at you, it breaks the natural flow. The key is to stay relaxed. Notice it, but don't make it obvious that you noticed. Let the moment continue because attraction builds in subtlety, and the more natural you remain, the more comfortable she feels expressing those signals. So pay attention to her eyes, not just how long she looks at you, but how she reacts when she does. Because in those small reactions, you'll see what she's not saying, and what she's not saying is often the truth. The third sign goes deeper than anything physical. It's emotional openness. This is where attraction moves beyond surface level and starts becoming something real. Because when a woman begins to open up to you emotionally, she's not just enjoying your presence, she's starting to trust you. And trust is what comes before anything else. Most women don't share personal details easily. They don't talk about their fears, their past, or their insecurities with just anyone. That part of them is protected. It stays hidden until they feel safe enough to reveal it. So when she starts telling you things she doesn't tell other people, that's not casual conversation. That's a signal, and she might talk about something that hurt her. She might mention something she struggles with. She might share a story that reveals a more vulnerable side of her personality. And the key here is not just what she says, it's how she says it. Her tone becomes softer. Her energy becomes more focused on you. She's not just talking to pass time. She's choosing to let you see a part of her that most people don't get access to. That's significant because for a woman, emotional safety is directly connected to attraction. She cannot move forward with someone she doesn't feel safe with emotionally. And the moment she begins to open up, she's testing whether you can handle that trust. She's watching how you respond. Do you listen or do you interrupt? Do you stay calm or do you react too quickly? Do you understand what she's saying or do you dismiss it? Your reaction determines whether she continues opening up or shuts down again. This is where most men make a mistake. They focus too much on what to say next instead of how to respond. They either try to fix the situation, give advice, or change the subject too quickly. And in doing that, they miss the point. She's not looking for solutions. She's looking for understanding. When you simply listen and stay present, it reinforces the feeling that she can trust you. And that trust deepens the connection. Another important detail is timing. She doesn't open up immediately. It happens gradually. First, small details, then slightly more personal stories, and over time, deeper layers. If you notice that progression, it means something is building. And it's building because she feels comfortable with you. Now, here's the deeper truth. A woman will not give herself physically to a man she doesn't feel safe with emotionally. For her, those two things are connected. Emotional openness is the bridge between attraction and intimacy. So, if she's opening up to you, even in small ways, don't ignore it. Because that's not just conversation. That's her showing you that she trusts you enough to go further. And once that trust is established, everything else becomes possible. Costa los tiempos in no sé. The fourth sign is where things start becoming more physical, but still in a subtle, controlled way. She touches you, not in an obvious or direct way, but in small moments that can easily be dismissed if you're not paying attention. And that's exactly why this sign is so powerful, because it doesn't feel intentional on the surface, but it is. Most women are very aware of physical boundaries. They don't casually touch men they're not interested in. There's always a level of distance when there's no attraction. Even in friendly interactions, that boundary stays intact. So when that boundary starts to break, it means something. You might notice it in small, almost accidental ways. If the contact lingers slightly longer than necessary, that's a stronger signal. It means she's not just making contact, she's comfortable maintaining it for a moment. That comfort is what matters, because comfort with touch leads to deeper connection. You may also notice that her touch becomes more natural over time. At first, it's almost a because it's quick and light. Then it becomes more frequent. Then it starts to feel effortless. That progression is not accidental. It's her gradually removing the boundary. Another key sign is how she reacts after touching you. If she smiles, maintains eye contact, or continues the interaction without hesitation, it reinforces the signal. It shows that she's comfortable with that level of closeness. If she pulls away quickly and avoids further contact, it means she's not ready yet. So, context matters. Now, here's where most men get it wrong. They either ignore it completely or they react too strongly. Ignoring it makes you miss the signal. Overreacting makes it awkward. The right approach is simple. Stay natural. Acknowledge it without making it a big deal. Let it happen without forcing it further. Because when touch feels natural, it builds connection. When it feels forced, it breaks it. This is not about escalating. It's about understanding. She's not just touching you. She's testing how close she can get. And if you handle it right, she'll keep getting closer without needing to say a word. The fifth sign is something you don't just see. You feel it. It's the shift in her emotions when she's around you. This is where attraction becomes impossible to hide. Because even if she tries to act normal, her emotional state starts to change in ways she can't fully control. Pay attention to how she behaves with other people compared to how she behaves with you. With others, she might be calm, neutral, or even a little distant. But with you, something is different. Her energy is higher, her reactions are stronger, her presence feels more alive. That difference is not random, it's emotional activation. When a woman is attracted to you, your presence affects her. You don't have to do anything extreme. Even small things like eye contact, a simple comment, or just being near her can trigger a reaction. You might notice that she becomes more playful. She teases you. She laughs more easily even at things that aren't that funny, or she becomes softer. Her voice lowers slightly. Her tone becomes warmer. These are not conscious decisions, they're emotional responses. Another common reaction is nervousness. And this is where most men get confused. They think that if a woman seems slightly anxious or unsure, it means she's not interested. But in reality, it can mean the opposite. When a woman feels nothing, she's completely calm. There's no emotional investment. But when she feels something strong, her body reacts. Her breathing changes. She fidgets slightly. She becomes more aware of herself. That nervous energy is often a sign that she cares about how clear as throat she's being perceived by you. And that only happens when you matter a lot. And now, here's something important. These emotional shifts are not always consistent. One moment she might seem confident and relaxed. The next moment she might seem slightly distant or quieter. That change doesn't mean her interest disappeared, it means she's managing her emotions. She's trying to stay composed while feeling something she hasn't fully processed yet. And that internal conflict creates variation in her behavior. This is why attraction can sometimes feel confusing, but once you understand it, it becomes clear. You stop looking for perfect consistency. You start looking for patterns. If her emotional state consistently changes around you, if she becomes more engaged, more reactive, more aware, that's not coincidence. That's your presence affecting her. And that's what attraction looks like in real time. It's not always smooth, it's not always obvious, but it's always felt. And if you pay attention to how she reacts emotionally when you're around, you'll start seeing what she's not saying. The sixth sign is the one that confuses most men because on the surface, it doesn't look like attraction. It looks like inconsistency. One moment she's close, warm, engaged. The next moment she pulls back, becomes quieter, or slightly distant. And most men interpret that as a loss of interest, but in many cases it's the opposite. It's attraction mixed with emotion she hasn't fully processed. This is what's known as push-pull behavior, and it happens when a woman feels something strong, but at the same time tries to protect herself from it. You have to understand something important. Attraction is not always comfortable. When a woman starts to feel something real, it creates vulnerability. It opens the possibility of rejection, disappointment, or losing control. And because of that, her instinct is to balance that feeling. So she leans in, then she back, not because she doesn't want you, but because she wants to manage how much she wants you. That's the difference. You might notice that after a strong moment of connection, she becomes slightly less available. She takes longer to respond. She gives shorter answers. She creates a bit of distance. At first it feels confusing, but then she comes back stronger, more engaged, more present than before. That cycle is not random. It's emotional regulation. She's trying to stay in control while feeling something that naturally pulls her out of control. Another example is how she behaves in person. She might be very warm and connected one moment, then suddenly become more reserved. Not cold, just slightly more contained. That shift is her trying to stabilize her emotions because when attraction becomes strong, it creates internal tension. And that tension shows up as inconsistency. Now here is where most men then make the biggest mistake. They react to the pullback. They become needy. They try to chase the connection she just gave them. And in doing that, they break the dynamic. Because when she pulls back, she's not asking you to chase. She's watching how you handle it. If you stay calm, grounded, and consistent, it reassures her. It shows her that you're not controlled by the moment. And that stability is what allows her to come back even stronger. But if you react emotionally, if you chase, if you try to force the connection, it creates pressure. And pressure pushes her further away. So the key here is understanding push-pull is not confusion. It's conflict between desire and control. And when you recognize it for what it is, you stop. You stop reacting the wrong way and you allow the dynamic to unfold naturally. Because when handled correctly, this is one of the strongest signs that she's feeling something real. At this point, you've seen all the signs. But if you're only looking for a checklist, you're missing the bigger picture. Because this was never just about memorizing behaviors. It's about understanding what those behaviors mean. Most men wait for certainty. They want clear confirmation, something obvious, something they don't have to question. But attraction doesn't work like that. It doesn't show up in loud, undeniable ways. It shows up quietly, in patterns, in repeated behavior that reveals how she feels without her ever saying it. And the truth is, you've probably seen these signs before. You just didn't recognize them. You thought she was just being friendly. You thought it didn't mean anything. You assumed that if she really liked you, she would say it directly. But now you understand something most men don't. A woman's actions will always tell you more than her words. If she moves closer, pays attention, touches you, reacts emotionally, prioritizes you, and shows that push-pull behavior, those are not random moments. Those are signals. And when those signals are consistent, they mean something. Now here's the part that changes everything. Recognizing the signs is only half of it. How you respond is what determines what happens next. Most men either ignore the signs or overreact to them. Ignoring them means you miss the opportunity. Overreacting creates pressure and breaks the natural flow. What you want instead is awareness. You notice the signs, but you stay grounded. You don't rush. You don't force. You allow things to develop naturally because attraction grows best when it's not pressured. Another important thing to understand is timing. Just because she shows signs doesn't mean she's ready immediately. It means she's moving in that direction, and your role is not to push her forward. It's to meet her where she is. That's what creates trust. That's what builds connection. And that's what allows things to progress in a way that feels right for both of you. Now, here's the final truth. A woman will not say she wants you until she feels safe enough to do so. But long before she says anything, she shows it. And if you know how to see it, you'll never have to guess again. You'll understand what's happening in real time, and that's what gives you the advantage. Because while most men are confused, waiting, and overthinking, you'll already know. If this resonated with you, drop a comment and tell me which sign you've noticed before, or which one surprised you the most. I read every comment. If you're ready to stop missing what she's showing you, hit like and subscribe. In the next video, I'll show you exactly how to respond when you see these signals so you never lose the moment again. Take care, and I'll see